Hi everyone, this is Cody with GearProGuide.com, and today we have paired the Bixpy J-2 outboard motor kit with our Blackfin XL stand-up paddleboard, and we'll be diving into a lot of the features and specs that you guys are wanting to know about, as well as battery life, maybe some routine maintenance cleaning when you get in from the water, noise level, speed, and a bunch of other things. So stay tuned for more. Alright, so coming right out of the box, your Bixpy motor is going to look like this. And then depending on what you're going to put it on will depend on which adapter you go with, which in our case is the Blackfin XL flip fin box adapter, which looks like this. But do keep in mind, you do have to make sure you put this adapter on correctly, because you can do it reverse, and then obviously when you go to put your motor on, then it's going to be backwards. Pretty simple. Slides in like that, and then you have 4 bolts that go right here, and then you're all set to go. So let's go ahead and get them bolts in and show you how to put it in the fin box. And that's it. And then from here, just like all their fins, front forward, pull it in, flip it down, and then always make sure you give it a tug to make sure you're good to go. Alright, so we talked about getting into some skinny water, so we wanted to show you how skinny of water you can get into. And so it looks about, at least on this model, Blackfin XL supboard, about a foot of water is going to be the shallowest you're going to get. Anything below that, your motor is going to be hitting and obviously kicking up some sand and maybe doing some damage. So you need to stay in about 1 foot or greater of water. Alright, so let's go over assembly here real quick. Battery, pretty self-explanatory. Just goes underneath the bungees, pretty quick and simple. You got 1 cable that goes to the motor that screws into the back. And then you got your on and off kill switch here, magnetic, that we talked about. On, off. And then underneath, 2 side fins on the Blackfin XL, and then your middle Bixpy. Just comes with 4 bolts, so have a little screwdriver and a wrench on you, and it'll take you about 2 minutes to put this thing together. Alright, so let's talk about some of the benefits of the Bixpy J-2 outboard motor kit. So one of the biggest things for me is, a lot of the times, I'm out in the water with, one of my kids, and just having that peace of mind that I know that we can get in pretty quick if they need to, or a storm rolls in. We're in the middle of summer in Florida, so it's not uncommon that we have nice sunny skies like right now, and then 10 minutes later we got a nice storm rolling in. So huge benefit in my eyes. Yes, it's hard to initially bite the bullet on the $1,200 for the kit, which was for me as well. But you know, when you think about all of the other benefits, like and all of the other equipment we purchased for our kayaks and canoes and supboards, including myself, you know, I purchased a boat paddleboard with the Apex pedal drive, and I paid $900 for a pedal drive. So you know, at the time I felt that was justified. So when I looked at $1,200 for a motor that could get me in a lot quicker and get me out and keep me out on the water a lot longer for fishing or even just recreation, it was kind of a no-brainer. So, and now that I've actually had it for some time and out on the water, it just confirmed that, you know, that $1,200 was initially tough to swallow, but in the end was definitely justified. Alright, so one of the features Bixpy has on this motor is a magnetic kill switch, you know, for obvious reasons. You know, no one wants to watch their sup, kayak, or even, you know, their motor, you know, ride off into the wind. So it does have to be attached in order to run the motor. And obviously we recommend, you know, putting it around your wrist like I do right now, or your foot, you know, or wherever is comfortable for you, but not just setting it on your boat, because, you know, then that's when you're going to have it going off in the distance without you. So pretty simple. We're going right now. I know we're only at like mid-speed. I fall off the paddleboard or even have to swing around or get something, pull it off, motor shuts off. So speed is obviously an important feature. So as we mentioned, we're on a Blackfin XL stand-up paddleboard, so obviously speed will vary depending on what watercraft you're on. Right now we're just cruising along at, you know, 3 miles an hour. Low speed right now, probably, yeah, maybe mid. We crank it up, high speed. Right now we're going full speed, and as you can see, 4 miles an hour. Not bad. Again, stand-up paddleboard, not a kayak or anything like that, so great speed comes with the J-2 motor outboard kit. All right, battery life. Definitely, you know, huge selling factor when you're looking into one of these motors is going to be battery life. Bixpy claims they have a 22-hour battery life in low speed, which I'll take their word on. There's no way I'm going to stay out here in the sun and heat for 22 hours and test that. I guess you could do it over multiple sessions, which is doable. But one thing I can vouch for is they claim 80 minutes, you know, at full speed battery life, which I can vouch for. Definitely longer run time than 80 minutes. But then again, I'm on a stand-up paddleboard, you know, with not much equipment with me. You know, I'm not fishing, I'm not in a kayak or a canoe, which is heavier with a bunch of gear loaded down. And in that case, you know, obviously your battery life would be a little less, and then current. So we're in St. Augustine, so we have a current, and then it shifts twice a day, 6 feet at a time, so we get some pretty strong currents. So depending on where you're at, that'll play a factor in your battery life as well. So keep all that in mind. But nevertheless, you know, if you're managing your battery life and using it only when you need to, or maybe you paddle all day, or we're out there and then decide that you're just going to use it to get home, which is a good way to go about it. I've done several times. Then you have no worries. You're not going to run out of battery life as long as you have it fully charged before you go out, which, speaking of fully charged, it only takes about 5.5 hours. So go out for a long trip, come back in, charge it in no time, and you can always get right back out there. So is noise a factor? Definitely noise is a factor in certain circumstances. So obviously if you're fishing, which I do a lot of, you're not going to cruise up onto your fishing hole or your flat or back in your creek, you know, full speed, turn it off and then start fishing. You would have scared away all your fish. But if you're not fishing, this noise is I was actually pretty surprised. It's relatively pretty quiet. Right now, I don't know if you can hear it, we're in slow speed. I'll crank it up to high speed using the controller so you can get an idea on the different noise levels. High speed. Definitely putting off some noise. But again, if I was fishing, I would cruise like this to get, you know, 150 yards out to where I wanted to fish, and then I would slow it down and paddle in. If we're just out here for recreation like we are today, not a factor at all. Relatively surprised. And then whenever you want to slow down, you got the down. Or if you just want to kill the motor, hit the stop. Alright, so let's recap on some of the benefits and features we mentioned today. As we mentioned, we paired this with a Blackfin XL stand-up paddleboard, but the opportunities are endless. They have a whole list on their website, Bixpy, with every paddleboard and canoe and kayak you can think of that you can buy their adapter for and make it compatible. Speed. So speed, we were pretty impressed. Obviously we're on a stand-up paddleboard, light gear. It will vary depending on if you're in a kayak and you're loaded down for fishing or what you're doing for the day. But we were able to get a top speed of a little over 4 miles an hour. So pretty good speed there. We were impressed. Noise, I did think it was gonna be pretty noisy, but after getting out here in the water, noise is not a factor for me. Fishing wise, if I was out here fishing, obviously you have to be mindful of that, and you're not going to run full speed into your fishing spot or even the flat or creek that you're going into. You would slow down 50 to 100 yards and then paddle your way in so you can start fishing. Weights, you know, the motor and the battery together, less than 10 pounds, so you're not really adding a lot of weight to your gear on your paddleboard or kayak. Battery life we touched on, you know, 5.5 hours to fully charge the battery, which is pretty short time period, and then 80 minutes at full speed runtime, which is pretty impressive. Should be long enough to get you back to the boat ramp if you want to get back in quickly. And then cleaning, so not much cleaning to it, but at the end of the day we are in salt water, so we will put get a 5-gallon bucket with some fresh water and dip it in it and run it. That way you get some fresh water ran through that motor. Don't recommend running it outside of water. Obviously make sure you got a good amount of water in your bucket and you're running it. You know, and some other features we may not have mentioned is the waterproof. So this battery is waterproof, which I'll show you later. And then also it floats, so huge feature. So if we do end up tipping over, we're not going to have to worry about our battery, you know, sinking to the bottom or anything like that. So we hope you enjoyed this video, and GearProGuide.com definitely recommends the Bixpy J-2 outboard motor if you're anything like us and like to explore the outdoors or even get into skinny water. You know, we're probably in 1 foot of water right now with no issues. And thank you for watching. All right, so we're kicking it in high gear here. We got a storm behind us, so we're gonna go ahead and get to the boat ramp. But you know, that brings me to a good point. So everyone, you know, has a different reason for making a purchase like this. You know, for us it was peace of mind, being able to get out here on the water in Florida in the middle of summer months and having these pop-up storms, but being able to get back into the boat ramp quickly. For others, it may just be because they think it's cool to have on their paddleboard or kayak, which is definitely justifiable. And then, you know, for some, they may want to use it for fishing, or want to have that peace of mind that if they do get tired, or, you know, do have an injury, you know, using a pedal drive or a paddle, they can still safely get in. So whatever the reasons may be, we definitely recommend the J-2 Bixpy Outboard Motor Kit. Thank you. All right, so we had mentioned cleaning. So obviously you can use a 5-gallon bucket, but in this case, for the video purpose, we're using the cooler, so you can see the full cleaning process, which basically is just putting it in some water and running it. Simple as that. And then while we got this, we might as well test out the battery's floatability. So as you can see, the battery floats. So if you did flip out on the water, you'd have no problem. Alright, that's going to wrap it up. We hope this video was helpful for you, and if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel or head on over to GearProGuide.com for several other articles and reviews and content. Thank you.